Hey guys, Spencer Z1. Today we're taking a look at the biggest game-changing upgrade for VR30 on Q models to date. This is the new VRX70 Turbo Kit. Alright guys, there is plenty to say about upgrades in the Q space. From the factory, sure, you get a car that's like got great response, super torquey, awesome punchy runaround cars. But as you start to upgrade them and you want to like spread your legs on a Q, you really start to realize it's got some things that it falls short on. And most of that always comes back to the turbo that was chosen, in the original design. Like I said, cool stock, but as you start to turn it up, we really see some choke points immediately, and all the bulk of that revolves around this super small exhaust housing. So as we set out on this course to develop a turbo kit, it would be great for making awesome power, flow more air, cooler charge, safer at higher levels, give you some legs to run. We're not talking 0 to 60, let's talk 0 to 160. That's what we were going after. As everybody knows, we swapped the VR into our manual Trans Z back in 2019. We ran on that with stock turbos and upgrades, just fighting the fight for a number of years. We had started on turbos in 20, and by 2021 we had placed in a few different sets of our prototype kits in different sizes. The biggest thing we noticed was temperature control and resistance to detonation. When you upgrade the exhaust housing on the turbo alone, if everything else stays the same, as you run through the rev range up higher in the RPM, trying to make more boost, you realize that it becomes this choke point that hurts the V on the engine, not super healthy pressure ratios, and for a lot of people out there pushing VRs, they know that there's failure that's commonly accompanied with that. That engines, turbos, they just can't handle it. You need to be able to let that 3-liter breathe. It's a good engine and it can make great power. Now on the Z, for instance, we ran that thing for years, and what we found was temp. It killed us on temp. We kept upgrading oil coolers, upgrading our heat exchangers, upgrading pumps. We developed a lot of things you've seen trickle into the Q space. So we have upgraded reservoirs to hold more fluid, bigger pumps, controllers, badass heat exchanger. All that has come, and it helped, but it didn't solve the problems. Finally, we get turbos on the car, everything changed. We can run the car nonstop all day, 20, 30-minute sessions at a time, give rides in and out, just hot lapping the thing, and it works great. It's super consistent, and it doesn't get into a point where it's trying to pull power back from heat soak. It doesn't go into a point where it's trying to detonate because we're just running it too hard. So, right, that gives you a little scope. We broke 600 wheel and run it like that for a long time on our Z. It's been very healthy. I'd say for most that are well upgraded, without having to go to the extremes on the fuel system even, you're going to be able to see probably 500 wheel. And if you want to go further than that with more supporting mods, you'll certainly be able to. So on to the turbos, let's get into the details. So in that 0.7 AR, larger framed exhaust housing, right? We can breathe, we can do well. We anchor a 9-blade turbine wheel. It features a 53.9 millimeter inducer with a 47 millimeter exducer, so good room to breathe. That wastegate port, the contour port as we call it in-house, was developed to get a little more area so we could control the bottom end of the boost spectrum. If we want to leave this thing open all the way and run a car with free-flowing exhaust, we can see about 12 PSI at redline. You can't do that on a hybrid turbo, even if you try and open the gate. There's just not enough room to get the exhaust gases out. It's gonna drive that wheel, so you lose an element of control. So, obviously, we wanna put a little pressure on that guy, keep it closed, and once you're sealed up with the pressure, all things are good. That turbine's gonna find a bunch of speed and be driving this 8-blade compressor wheel. This is a 67 millimeter compressor wheel, and gives you a lot of range on these turbos. So, like I said, we can see power probably on the low end, expected in the 4s, I think, when they did that creep test. Most are gonna be running probably around 500 horsepower. And well beyond 600, I'm gonna be excited to see how far these things get pushed as people go crazy with full fuel systems in the 85. Kits come complete. Everything is very nice. You get all stainless hardware included, nice CNC machine. Cooling banjo bolts, you get nice matching ones for oil. Again, very nice parts for the feed. You get stainless steel, new replacement turbo lines, so fitment is just going to be mint. Everything from the engine where it picks it up, in this instance, over to the turbo itself. You get hardware and new actuator rods to include, so you can swap over your actuators, we give you everything, even like new hardware to attach that guy so you're not worried about something coming loose. You get new gaskets in the kit, new crush washer gaskets for these exits, drain gaskets, everything you need. So don't worry about making a poor decision with Z1 turbos. Just worry about regretting if you chose a different path. The VRX70 is really going to open you up to running the pace you want to run with your Q and not feeling like you've got a little torque monster that just runs out of range before your factory RPM, like redlining things. So you guys have questions on this? What's the right things to pair with this to set me up for the biggest success for my use case, or what we want to do with my Q or achieve my goals that I'm looking at? I want to smoke my buddy out. We got you. Give our guys a call, shoot them an email, info@z1motorsports.com. Be happy to set you up with a full package so you can lay it down.